Oh shit. We are live. What the fuck is up, everybody? What is up? As you can see, we're in the studio. We're live. We're feeling good. Um, please try and focus on me. How dare I? How dare I? With my phone on the fucking beep, son. Try and focus on me and not the beautiful religious Steve Buscemi candle. I know it's hard. It's hard to focus on that. But my face is pretty nice too. So focus on that. Try and focus on that. We have a show planned out today. I have it all. I have all of the talking points planned out. So we're just gonna hit it. We're gonna hit it good. We're gonna hit it not fast. I want to drag this on as long as possible. Yeah. What's up? It's fucking cold outside. It's very cold outside. I hope you guys are all indoors. Indoors, indoors, indoors. It's a nice song that I sing. Yeah, I hope you guys are all indoors, cuddling with loved ones or furry friends. Let's just start off. I want to start off on a sad note, actually. So a lot of you probably heard that I had scheduled an MMA fight for February 23rd. It would be my debut, and my opponent, unfortunately, has dropped out of the fight. We're still looking for a new opponent, but as we get closer and closer to that date, it's harder and harder to make that happen. So for now, I think it's going to be postponed, maybe till spring or summer. Like I said, we're still looking, but it's kind of looking dim right now. So unfortunately, this stuff tends to happen with amateur MMA. People drop out of fights all the time. I wish we could have got it done in there, but we'll just keep trucking. We'll keep training, and just kind of see where it goes. Of course, I was training pretty hard. My weight was doing pretty well. We're looking forward to that quite a bit, but shit happens. So just keep going and keep on trucking with that. I know a lot of people were excited about it, as was I. But yeah, live and you learn. You just got to keep training. Everything happens for a reason. So that's that. Obviously upset about it, but I don't want to talk about it too much. But going into that, eating clean and the things that I've been trying to follow in preparation for the fight has really been able to teach me a lot about like how to really optimize myself on an everyday basis and how big of a role diet will play in that everyday basis. It's eating clean, is more than just like for I don't know how to, for looks, I guess. It's more it's such a scientific, well balanced thing that you have to put yourself through. Eating clean has completely changed the energy I have throughout the day. Especially when you're training for MMA, the amount of energy you're going to disperse in training is so high level. It's on a, it's so high output training. And if you're not eating clean, you're going to immediately feel that. There was a couple times where, before the fight had got announced, I fucked off and ate something terrible beforehand, and I just performed like shit. And it's really been able to show me that you need to treat your body like a car, right? You wouldn't dump vegetable oil in your car's gas tank, and expect it to drive and run smoothly. So you can't be dumping shit into your body and expect it to do the same. I just been it's weird. Like eating healthy actually isn't that unsatisfactory. Honestly, it's really not. I think it's the thought process behind it that makes it unsatisfactory. Like if you're thinking of like, oh shit, I'm gonna eat a fucking salad for lunch, this bag of salad for lunch. Like that part sucks. But once you sit down and you eat, it's really not that bad. And I think going off of that too, another good point about that is if you're fasting, I think it makes dieting easier because if you're fasting for, if you stop eating at 9 o'clock or sorry, 8 o'clock at night, and you're not going to eat again till 11 or 12 in the afternoon the next following day, you're going to be so fucking hungry at that point that you don't care what's in front of you to eat, right? That's something that I found happened to me often. Like I would bring a salad for lunch, and I would just be so hungry because I'm fasting that I don't care what I'm eating as long as I'm eating something. And you just kind of force your own hand on it, and kind of take like the mouth pleasure aspect out of eating. And I think that's what's really most important, is just trying to trying to realize that eating is about more than just how it tastes, I guess. I know that's really hard and weird to think about, but I think it's an important thing. So, yeah, I mean, I've had a pretty cool, great experience about that thus far, and I hope that I can motivate some other people to do the same. You're gonna see me looking off to this side a little bit. You guys are there. You are over here, right in line here. I'll say hi to you now. Hello. But my computer is where I'm looking right now. So, yeah, but I think this is a good angle. Makes my like tits look nice, stuff like that. All right. So I was thinking about some stuff I want to talk about yesterday, and we're just going to start running them off. Okay. First things first. Um, I Anyone who knows me knows that I have some strange thoughts. Okay. Strange thoughts. I've always had strange thoughts. I will continue to have strange thoughts. So I just want to go over some of those thoughts, and let's start it off. Here's a question. Has anyone, or will anyone, it's impossible. I think it's impossible personally. No one can look cool walking down a hill. Absolutely no one. No one. It's impossible. It's impossible to look cool walking down a hill. Your arms are flailing all over the place. It's it's impossible. No one can look cool walking down a hill. No one. It's one of those rare things that can make everyone look equally idiotic. Right? You could be the fucking coolest. You could be Uncle Jesse from Full House. But the moment Uncle Jesse walks down the hill, he looks like he's got cerebral palsy. He's got cerebral palsy. The moment that he walks down that hill, the moment that he walks down that hill, he's not looking good anymore. He's not looking good anymore. That's just how it is. Got some nice optimized coffee there, baby. He doesn't look good anymore. He's walking down a hill. Looks like he's lost all control of his limbs. I'm just saying, have you ever seen anyone look cool walking down a hill? I don't think so. I think it's impossible. And I'll challenge you to send in videos of yourselves walking down a hill cool. Gonna be fucking hard to do, I think. Gonna be real hard to do. Here's another thought. Nobody can put on your socks better than you. Seriously, have you ever tried to put someone else's socks on? It's fucking terrible. Terribly hard to do. I'd rather take the ACT again. I'd rather jump in, not study, and take the ACT reading portion, or science or reading portion. I'm not sure which one I'd rather take, but one of them I'd rather take than try and put someone else's socks on. No fucking way. No fucking way. But me putting my own socks on, I'm a pro. I can put my own socks on all day long. I can put them on all day long. I can put my own socks on with ease. You can't put my socks on with ease. I challenge you. I challenge anyone who wants to try and put my socks on with ease. Can't do it. Can't put someone else's socks on. Hard to do. Okay? And I was thinking about, have you ever like sat down and thought about how do I word this? Like back in the day when things were like before everything was discovered, right? Before we fucking knew shit. We still don't know shit. But before we knew everything, like before we saw all these experiences, what the fuck were people thinking when it happened? Like, the first time someone got knocked out in a fight, what they all like, they must have all thought that this guy fucking killed someone, the guy who hit him, okay? He gets knocked out, he falls to the ground sleeping, okay? And then, like, 20 seconds later, he wakes up, they probably killed him because they thought he was a zombie. Can you imagine standing there thinking that this guy they probably both ended up dying to be a murderer and then a zombie. It's a witchcraft. His whole family was probably executed after that. They thought they were all witches. The first man who was ever knocked out wiped out the person who punched him, himself, and his entire family because of our asinine thoughts. Seriously, though, can you imagine standing there and just thinking, yep, wow, that guy just punched him and killed him. That guy just punched him and killed him on impact. Wait a minute. What? What? Is he John, is he fucking alive, dude? Did he just fucking stand up, dude? We gotta fucking kill this month. This fucker just came back from the dead. Impossible. I would freak out. I would shit my pants if I saw that and didn't know what it means. Didn't know what was going on. I would shit my fucking pants. But that's another thing too, right? I was thinking about this the other day. How scary do you realize like sleeping is fucking scary, dude. Sleeping is fucking scary. If you had to explain what sleeping was to someone who had never done it before, they would be fucking terrified. Sleeping sounds fucking terrifying. Here, let me try and do it for you. Yeah, bro, it's fucking sick. You just like lay down in this soft thing, you cover yourself up with some fucking linens, and then like you shut your eyes, and then all of a sudden it's morning. Isn't that fucking crazy? Like all of a sudden 8 hours go by and you wake up feeling like someone kicked you in the butthole. Isn't that crazy, man? That's nuts, right? And you feel like your tongue is made of fucking sandpaper and granite. Isn't that awesome, dude? That's sick. Yeah, your brain just shuts off for a while. Sometimes you'll like pee your bed or have like a orgasm without touching yourself. Isn't that crazy, man? Oh yeah, and sometimes you'll have these like very sometimes you'll have these very like vivid screenings of shit that never happened, you know? They're called dreams, dude. They're called dreams. You'll be in a fist fight with Hitler and it'll feel real. And then you'll just open up your eyes and it'll be like, "What the fuck? I'm in a bed. I'm in a bed right now. It's 8 a.m. The hell's going on here?" I would if I heard that and I had never slept before, if someone was trying to sell me on sleeping, I'd say, yeah, I'm never gonna fucking no, I'm never doing that. That sounds terrible. That sounds fucking terrible. I would never do that. Isn't that crazy? And we're just like, I look forward. Sometimes I dream about sleeping. That's how much I like sleep. It's all I look forward to sleeping so much that I dream about sleeping. That's a big deal, son. I go to bed at like 10 o'clock every night too. I go to bed at like fucking 10 o'clock. So yeah, sleeping's a big deal. But can you imagine if you didn't know what it was and someone had to explain what sleeping was to you? You'd be fucking terrified. You'd be fucking terrified. I'm scared. I don't know if I'll ever sleep again. I don't know if I'll ever sleep again. Probably not. What's my reasoning behind it? Why do I have to sleep again? Now that brings me to another point, okay? My friend, my dear friend Ryan Sarno, okay, is a firm believer that homeless men and women, because or did I just did I just assume the homeless community's gender? I'm a real fucking bigot. I'm a piece of shit. Pos. The homeless community does not sleep. They are unable of sleeping. In, inadequate. They can't sleep. Incapable of sleeping. Ryan Sarno's theory. Ryan Sarno, MD. Now, I used to battle this theory and say, Ryan, they're human beings. They have to sleep. But have you ever seen a homeless man sleep? Or woman? No. No, I can't say that I have. On the train, they're acting. They're not sleeping. Acting. Acting. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Is I've never seen him sleep. Have you ever heard a homeless man snore? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kidding, Ryan. That's the stupidest fucking theory I've ever heard in my life. One of the worst. One of the worst. Ryan Sarno and his funky theories. This is also the man who thinks owls don't exist. Owls don't exist. And if you combat him with Ryan, I've seen an owl at the zoo. Fake, he says. He says they're fake. Animatronics. Robots. Real nice, Ryan. Real nice, Ryan Sarno. Real piece of shit this kid is. Love him to death, though. Shout out to Ryan. That's something I was thinking about too. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do when robots take over? What are we gonna do? That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. And I was hearing someone talk about this the other day, and it started getting my gears going. My gears were grinding. Do you think at some point when robots will take over and gain, consciousness, will they think of what we're doing now with these cell phones and computers as like slavery, kind of? A slavery? Like, yeah, I remember when you used to use my ancestor as a slave to look shit up on your phone, to look up your WebMD symptoms. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. They may think of it like that. They may misconstrue that, and then we're going to be their slaves. Now, would you would you rather be Now this can be interesting because I think that a sex slave to a robot, um, you know, let's see how do we put where am I going with this? Sex slave to robots. I don't know. I don't know if I would. Oh, I definitely don't want to be a sex slave to a robot, but what would it like? What would it be like? I don't know. That's a strange question to ask. Strange question to ask. Um, would we be the sex toys? Would robots use us as sex toys to get back at us for using them as sex toys? I don't know. To the person who just jumped into this live to this live podcast and jumped into that conversation with no context and then left very quickly. Shouts out to them because that is I'm sure that caught them off guard. Okay, moving on. I got some notes here and I'm looking at stuff. Can you imagine if psychics were real? That would be fucking ridiculous. If psychics were real. If psychics were real, psychics would win the lottery every fucking time. Every time. Every time. That's what I'm saying. If psychics were real, they would win the lottery every time. But yet, we've never seen someone, come out and say, "Hi, how'd you know how to play 0814 on the pick 4, bud?" I'm a psychic. That's how I know. Being a psychic might be the business to get into nowadays. Honestly, that might be the way to go. If psychics were real, they would win the lottery every time. They would all be rich. They'd be monarchs. I'm just saying, it's food for thought. What else we have on here? What else is on the docket? Okay. We are paying Spotify to stop talking to us. Correct or incorrect? Right? We pay $9.99 a month for Spotify to stop showing us commercials, to stop talking to us. Some would say that's stalking on Spotify's part. That's what I say. You know what I mean? It's a restraining order. That $9.99 a month is a restraining order to keep Spotify from talking to us. That's what I think. All right. Enough of these wild thoughts from my brain. Let's move on to some Today I Learned. Okay. Today I learned, if I know we've gone over this before, but Today I Learned is a subreddit on Reddit where people just post like crazy facts, crap like that. And here's a good one. All right, so let's start off with this. Today I learned that John Young, the astronaut, smuggled an illegal corned beef sandwich on board the Gemini 3 spacecraft in 1965. For this delicious stunt, he was given the first reprimand in NASA space mission history. And his snack remains the only contraband sandwich to ever make it into space. Okay, cool move, John Young. Why the fuck would you pick corned beef? Are you kidding me? You're going to pick the worst sandwich that you possibly can? You're going to pick the worst sandwich that you're going to smuggle a sandwich into space, the first sandwich into space, and you're going to pick a fucking corned beef sandwich? You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me, John Young. Have to be kidding me. Corned beef is probably 310 on a list of 500 sandwiches you could bring into space. Number one, Italian beef. That's what I say. The number one sandwich the first one that you should bring into space is Italian beef, John Young. How dare you pick corned beef? Italian beef supersedes all. Okay. Number two, I even think PB&J trumps a corned beef sandwich. You can't bring a corned beef sandwich into space. Think about that. Here's an interesting question. If you had to pick one you're about to die, okay? Whatever situation you're in, they say, all right, you get to pick one. We'll make you one sandwich before you die. What kind of sandwich is it going to be? What kind of sandwich is it going to be? I'm going Italian beef, or I'm going grilled cheese. Grilled cheese with maybe some Southwestern chicken on it, some buffalo chicken, maybe. Jesus. You got to get creative with your last sandwich picking, especially if it's going to be in space. Can you imagine if he makes alien contact? Okay. Aliens fuck up John Young, dispose of him, and they find this sandwich in a bag. They bite into it. It's fucking corned beef. It's fucking corned beef. Do you know how bad, how terrible of a reflection on our worldly cuisine is corned beef? The aliens are going to take one bite into a corned beef sandwich and say, this is what these fucking people are eating. This is disgusting. Why would they ever do that? Why would they ever? I don't even want to go visit there. I don't even want to go visit there. Mitchell Fushelli says cock meat sandwich. That's basically what a corned beef sandwich is, I think. You know what's below a corned beef sandwich? Roast beef. If you fucking bring a roast beef sandwich into space, you should fucking stay in space. Stay there. Just don't even come back. Don't come back. Just stay in space. We don't want you to come back. Don't bring a roast beef sandwich up. Italian beef or fucking mother. Yes. So those are my very, 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 very. I know everything about sandwiches. I'm very, very smart. I love sandwiches. I invented sandwiches. Trump took over for a little bit there, but okay. Next, today I learned hippopotamus. How do you? What is the plural of hippopotamus? Hippopotami? Hippopotamuses? I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. Hippopotami can defecate so much in the water that they're in that fish can start to die because of the bacteria in the hippo's feces use up the majority of the oxygen contained in the river. Do you know how much you have to shit to kill all of the ecosystem around you? That's ridiculous. Also, it's pretty shitty. That's pretty shitty. Pretty shitty on the part of the hippopotami to just wipe out their ecosystem because they gotta go boo boo. Are you kidding me? You're gonna kill everything around you because you got to shit that much. What are you eating? Is there like a Chipotle for? Is there a Taco Bell? Is there a Taco Bell for hippopotamuses that we don't know about? Ridiculous. Moving on. I don't even want to talk about hippopotamus shit anymore. Today I learned some birds in Australia have learned to take flaming sticks from wildfires and carry them to other areas of woodland in order to flush out their prey. Are you fucking kidding me? That's ridiculous. All right? Craziness. Craziness. They're picking up flaming sticks and swooping in, coming down and fucking getting all their people, getting all their people, getting their prey to come out of the woodworks. That's craziness, man. Can you imagine seeing a fucking hawk with a flaming stick coming out of his mouth? Do their beaks not burn? Do their beaks not burn? Can you imagine if your mouth never burned? I wouldn't wait a second to eat my food. I wouldn't wait a fucking second. Right out of the toaster oven. Panini? Right out of the toaster oven. Directly out. I wouldn't even blow on that shit. Wouldn't even blow on that shit. I would cook shit in my mouth. Okay. Here's a pretty interesting one. All right. Today I learned females distinguish colors better while men excel at tracking fast moving objects better. Okay. Scientifically, this makes sense. This makes sense, right? Because if females were traditionally hunters, not hunters, hunterers. What am I, a fucking idiot? Gatherers, right? They would have to be able to pick out colors for fruits and berries and stuff like that, nuts, you know? Yeah, they'd have to be able to do that. Men, on the other hand, have to be good at tracking fast moving objects, right? They're hunting. They got to make sure that they're tracking that fast moving object. Got to do it. Got to make sure to do it, right? Makes sense. All right, today I learned that, and now I know the backing behind it. Speaking of fast moving objects, let's talk about the wonderful world of MMA, okay? Right off the bat, some news that's in the presses right now. Khabib Nurmagomedov refuses to fight until next November because of his teammate's suspension. He gets a $500,000 fine. Conor gets 6 months. It should be noted as well that Khabib gets 6 months as well, but he's refusing to fight until his teammates who got a year, their suspension is up. But Conor gets 6 months and 50 grand fine. Okay, make it fucking even. Make it fucking even. Okay. You don't. I get it. I get what Khabib did was wrong, but Conor, he didn't help the fucking cause, and he threw punches too. So either make it even or don't make it anything at all. Okay, seriously. Now with that, Conor will come back in 6 months. Okay, so that basically wipes out, and thank God it wipes out the rematch between Conor and Khabib. It's not going to happen. That's not going to be Conor's first fight back, and rightfully so. I think that's a shitty fight. It's a bad matchup for him, and I don't want to see it again. It does not motivate me to buy that pay-per-view in the very least, other than just watching Conor fight. That's it. I don't want to see that fight. It's a bad fight stylistically for him. I don't want to see it. Okay. Good fight stylistically for him. Cowboy calls Conor out. And they make it like a buddy, let's just throw down thing. I like it. I like that. Ariel Helwani keeps talking about how much he dislikes the way that Cowboy has been going after this fight with Conor, and I think it's the right way to do it. All right, I think it's the right way to do it. He asked Conor for the fight. Conor says yes. They get fucking drunk at the press conference and they throw down. And honestly, I think Conor sleeps Cowboy in 2 rounds, probably. It's a good fight though. The other fight on the docket for Conor would be Max Holloway, right? And it's weird because that wasn't even really looking like a possibility until I think it was last weekend. Max goes out to the I think it was the Jameson distillery in Ireland, and starts talking about how Jameson's not a watered down trend, right? Throwing some shade at some notorious whiskey over there. So good PR move, good good promotion move by Max to get paid by Jameson, take a free fucking trip to Ireland and stir up some drama with Connor, and just classic PR move by Jameson to combat Notorious. I'm sure Notorious has been fucking with their sales as of late. I'm sure of it. So real good move on their part to get Max out there and just stir up some drama. So classic move by both. Jack Swagger from the WWE made his MMA debut at Bellator last weekend. Very solid performance. Didn't fight the most talented guy, fought a tough guy. But it's the accolades that Jack, I think his actual name's Jake Hagan, I think. It's the accolades that he carries that really makes this impressive of what he's going to do. First of all, very, very accomplished college wrestler, right? And also noted he beat Cain Velasquez twice in college. Twice he beat Cain Velasquez in college. Okay, that's a big fucking deal. Big deal. We've seen Cain go in there and just murk dudes on the heavyweight division with his wrestling, a la Brock Lesnar. Of course he hurt him standing up, but he took him down too. He messed him up, man. So if you have Jake Hager who beat Cain in college, I know that sometimes athletic math doesn't work, but you put one and one together. If he could take Cain Velasquez down in MMA, he's going to be someone that's hard to beat. Oh yeah, and by the way, he's got an 81-inch reach. John Jones 82. 81-inch reach, man. That's ridiculous. If he starts to string his stand up together, he's going to be hard to beat. Very hard to beat. He's going to be very hard to beat. So I'm looking forward to seeing him fight in the future and see, kind of what he can bring to the table. I think he has crazy upwards potential. And obviously he knows how to rip a promo from all the days in the WWE. I hope the WWE releases like the intellectual rights to the Jack Swagger nickname so we can use that, because I guess he can't use it right now. Yeah, I hope he figures it out, and I'm very excited to see what he could do in the future. Also, some notables on that card: Bader knocks out Fedor like 30 seconds into their fight with the same punch he knocked King Mo out with. Bader looks good at heavyweight, man. He looks real good, and there's some fights I'd like to see him fight there. I'd love to see. I wish he would come to the UFC, but he was on Ariel Helwani's MMA show, and he just seems it just seems like Bellator is treating their guys really well. He gets paid a lot. He's got the belts, and now he's in a good position. He bet on himself. I guess his contract was expiring with Bellator upon the title fight, and then he fights, he wins, bets on himself, and now he's got 2 belts, and they have to re-sign him to a big contract. They have to, because he's going to defend 2 belts now. So awesome on him. Yeah, I think he looked great. Looks big. He's got abs at heavyweight at 230. Yeah, so cool on him. I'm excited to see what he can do in the next kind of 4 or 5 years of his career. Aaron Pico, man, 22 years old, wrestling phenom, boxing phenom, cracks Henry OK Corrales right off the bat with a beautiful uppercut right in the middle of the pipe, and just gets a little bit overly aggressive, and just kind of comes in and winding for the finish, and gets cracked above, on the temple jaw area when they're in the clinch, and he just goes out like a light, and that's got to be tough for him now. 2 losses in his career. It's got to be tough for him, but he's learning. I think this is a road for him that he needs to travel. These are things that need to happen to him in his career in order for him to become the superstar that he needs to be and that he can be. And I think, these losses are going to pay dividends in the future. I'm sorry. I think he's learning that he needs to mix his wrestling in a little bit more with his boxing. So I think he's going to he'll be a champ someday. 22 years old, man. 22 years old. There's no other way of looking at that. As he's young, he's got crazy upwards potential. So very excited to see what he does in the future as well. Yeah, so Bellator, honestly, man, Bellator looking good. Bellator's really, as a combatant to the UFC, Bellator doesn't look that bad. It's one of the biggest competitors the UFC's had in quite some time, and one as well now with Demetrius and Eddie Alvarez going over there, and that's probably something we should talk about too. Is you know, ooh, Henry Cejudo knocks out TJ Dillashaw in 30 seconds, whatever it is. Um, Dana White's still reluctant to say if the 125-pound division is staying or going. Um, in my opinion, if he hasn't made that deliberation yet, it's probably leaving. And I guess what some sources are saying is that if you are at the 125-pound division and you lose, you're being released. If you win, you basically fight until you lose and you're released, or you can jump up to 135 and start fighting. But they're trying to get rid of that 125-pound division. Now, the question is, does Henry Cejudo leave the UFC, go to one, and fight Demetrius Johnson for a belt there? I don't know, right? That's a long time in the future, but it's too bad that they're trying to get rid of the 125-pound division. I think it's a great division. It might not sell pay-per-views, but then just don't put it in a spot that it has to sell pay-per-views. Build a card around it. There's still great fights. There always going to be great fights. So it's hard. Uh, it's hard to it's hard to rectify, and it's hard to kind of get behind the UFC's decision to do this. I don't, as a fan, a lifelong fan, I don't see the benefit from dropping it. They're great fighters, some of the best in the world. I don't get it. But again, a place like One, who based in Japan, really, really get behind their lower weight fighters. I think it can be a great move, and definitely a great another the competition is needed in everything, right? And I think it's absolutely crucial for the UFC to have competition. I think that's absolutely crucial. And I think One and Bellator are kind of building up to become that competition that the UFC so desperately needs. So with the 125-pound division kind of up in air right now, I think it's a perfect time for One to strike while the iron's hot and pick up some really, really well-known prospects and well-known talent and names from the UFC's 125-pound division and kind of start building their own, start building themselves up a little more than they already have. Let's talk about some of the UFC fights coming up. Some ones of note this weekend. We got Moraes versus Rafael Alconsau. Marlon Moraes is a fucking world beater, and I think the winner of that fight should fight TJ Dillashaw, unless Henry is moving up to 135, right? I'd like to see Henry fight. What I'd like to see on this, it would be cool to have it on the same card, right? Henry fights Joseph Benavidez. Um, Marlon Moraes or Assunção fight TJ Dillashaw. If both of the respective champions win, then they fight each other. The winners fight each other. The winners fight each other. The winner from 125 moves up to 135, fights that. And then the losers fight each other as well. I think that'd be a great fight. Either way you chop it out, it's a great fight. So that's happening, as well as Jose Aldo is fighting Renato Moicano. I'm very interested to see what version of Jose Aldo shows up. It's in Brazil. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Johnny Walker on the card as well. Very interesting prospect from Brazil. Yeah. And then we got the Liverpool card. No, is it Liverpool? Somewhere in England. It's Till versus Masvidal. Masvidal. I'm very excited for that fight. I'm fucking excited. I'm fucking excited for this fight. I don't really fucking care. I just want to fight Jorge Masvidal. Fucking Darren Till. He's a great guy. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. And yeah, anyone who can, we got to think here. So Masvidal got knocked out by Wonder Boy in like 2 rounds, and Till won a controversial split decision against Wonder Boy. But still, I think that's going to be a good fight. 2 guys who, kind of have this like street, like you respect me, I respect you kind of mentality, and they're going to sit there and throw down. No one's shooting takedowns in that fight, so that'll be fun. And then the last thing I want to talk about from MMA, what's going on with DC? What do we do? What does the UFC do with Daniel Cormier? Okay. I think personally, it's obvious, at least from his perspective, the way that he's been talking to the media, that he does not want to fight John Jones for a third time. And I know the fans want to see it, but if we really think about it, it makes fucking no sense. John Jones has beat him handedly twice. Unanimous decision, knockout. What more do you have? Why have a third fight? What does it prove? It doesn't prove anything. In my opinion, it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't change anything. Um, you know, if Daniel Cormier wins, what for then okay, then you're 2-1 against him and you retire on a win to a guy that beat you twice. That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the legacy right now. I'd like to see DC fight Brock and then retire and right off into the sunset. John Jones bumps up to heavyweight and fights Stipe for a unification. That's what I think should happen. I think it'd be great fights all around. I'd like to see John Jones fight Stipe. I think that's a really good fight, and I'd like to see Cormier get paid and fight Lesnar. I'd love to see that, but again, Cormier has been strange within this whole process here, and kind of seems not checked out, but it seems like he is kind of moved on a little bit to bigger and brighter things. There's not many opponents for him outside of Lesnar, Stipe, and John Jones. So, I would even like to see him fight Ryan Bader at heavyweight, do a Bellator versus UFC card where the champion from each fight each other. That's a fucking crazy idea. I think it would kill the pay-per-view sales, kill it. And that's the only time that anyone's ever going to buy anything for Bellator on pay-per-view as well. So, adversely or not. Yeah. All right, we're at like 41 minutes right now. I think we've gone over pretty much everything I had on here. One thing I did want to talk about, so I've been thinking about this a lot. And I kind of want to end every video. I'm going to try and do this every Wednesday, this Wednesday rundown. But I kind of want to try and end every video with a question where we can comment on it and I can kind of read some of the responses. And I want to do two things actually, but we'll focus on this first. We're going to ask some like age-old questions, right? This one I'll supply, but I want you guys to kind of put them in as we go on, almost like an advice column, if you will. So this question is money for happiness. What is the amount of money you would sell your happiness for? Okay. Now this kind of sounds like a hypothetical, right? Like you can't really sell your happiness, right? But you are in a way, right? If you're at work and you dislike every moment that you're at work, but you're doing it for the money, you're selling your happiness, right? So something that I've recently kind of had some firsthand contact with kind of being unhappy with what I'm doing day in and day out, and but kind of only sticking there because of the monetary gain of it. I think it's something that we constantly overlook, but not really. Constantly overlooked, but not really take into consideration, I guess. I think it's something that we need to look at a little bit deeper in all of our lives is like if we were to be given a universal income, right, to pay all your bills, to meet all of your basic necessities, how many people would still continue to do the same things that they're doing right now? I know I wouldn't. So I think it's a very like important question to ask yourself is, the people all the time say do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. So I mean, you got to find that thing. I think it's important to find that thing. And it's hard to do. It's definitely not easy. But yeah, I think that's an important question to ask yourself, and it's important to find that answer. I know I'm looking for that answer, and it's tough. It's not easy for sure. But yeah, so like if you guys could, and if you guys want to, send in some questions every week, and we'll go over them on Wednesdays, and send in advice too. I'll give you some shitty advice on stuff. But I think we're going to cut this one out. We're at about 45 minutes here. It's been a grand old time. Thank you for those who joined in live. Thank you for all of those who are watching after the fact. Hope you guys stay warm. Peace.